When Congressman Dan Goldman asked a simple question, does Donald Trump appear in the Epstein files? Kash Patel couldn't give a straight answer. What followed wasn't just a heated argument. It was a glimpse into how the system protects the powerful while victims are left waiting for justice. This clash wasn't about legal technicalities. It was about truth, transparency, and whether the full story will ever come out.
Gentleman yields back. The gentleman from New York is recognized. Mr. Goldman.
Mr. Patel, does Donald Trump appear anywhere in the Epstein files?
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
It's not a complicated question. Does Donald Trump appear anywhere in the Epstein files?
I didn't say it was a complicated question. I just didn't hear you, so my apologies. We have released where President Trump's name's in the Epstein files and everybody else, and all credible information that we are legally allowed to release has been released.
All right, so let's go through that. You're referring to court orders that prohibit you from releasing grand jury testimony under Rule 6E. Is that what you're referring to when you say as the law allows?
That's a piece of it.
Really? What other evidence do those three court orders you cited prohibit from being released?
Information that was collected pursuant to those search warrants that were limited in fashion.
Wrong. That's not what the court order says, and that's not under 6E.
And you're talking, and I said that's 6E, and I said there was others, and I'm answering that. There are sealed court order documents. There are protective orders.
They are unsealed as part of discovery given to Ghislaine Maxwell. They are no longer sealed.
That's just not true. We can argue about it all you want.
Okay, well, you agree that there are, so your testimony here is that the reason why you are not releasing all of the videos that you have acknowledged, there are so many, and that the FBI spent thousands of hours of reviewing, the photographs, the photographs that you have. You're saying that you're not releasing those because there's a court order requiring them to be sealed? Is that your testimony?
Never said that about the videos. On the totality of the videos, of the thousands of images that were seized pursuant to the search warrants executed at the time, the overwhelming majority of that video is pornographic material that was downloaded from the internet and child sexual abuse material. We will never release that.
Well, as you should not release the victims, but if there are videos that relate to others who Epstein trafficked to, such as maybe Prince Andrew, or photographs, that you have total control to release.
Yes, and if it exists...
And so why haven't you released it?
Why are you supposing that that is a fact when in fact it is false? Are you saying that
you're saying that none of the videos relate to anything relevant to the Jeffrey Epstein trafficking ring?
Every single video that we have collected pursuant to the prior search warrants has been examined for the last 10 years. And every single video has been utilized for whatever prosecutions were able to be legally brought.
I'm not asking about prosecutions. I'm asking about why you aren't releasing the full Epstein files, including the names of people who were involved in the sex ring that you promised to do before you became FBI director.
I just told you, I'm not going to release downloaded porn of
I'm
children
not asking
on the
about
internet.
that. Fine. I'm asking about all the other files.
What other videos? Tell me. Tell me.
That's what I'm asking.
Tell me.
You're saying there are no videos that would be relevant to anyone else involved in the Jeffrey Epstein sex ring.
Pursuant to Mr. Acosta's collection of information based on the search warrants. That's all we have in our possession.
And I'm asking you, that stuff.
That's all we got.
I'm not asking all you got. I'm asking you, in that stuff, there's nothing that's related to any other sex traffic, any other people engaged with Epstein in underage sex.
That's correct. To my knowledge, no.
Okay. Let's talk about the witness interviews. 302s of witness interviews. Those are not subject to the court order. Those are not subject to any fictional sealed order for a search warrant. Why aren't you releasing those with the redacted names of the victims?
We are releasing as much as legally allowed. That's why we went back to the courts.
How is that not legally allowed?
Sir, do you know how court orders work? Do you know how protective orders work?
Actually, Mr. Patel, I was a real prosecutor for 10 years. I know exactly how
So I was a fake one?
And I want to understand what the court order prevents you from releasing witness statements that the FBI took.
You should know that as a real prosecutor, when the court hand downs a protective order and a motion to seal, the material is sealed unless
So
that
your
judge
testimony
waives
here
it.
is that all of those witness statements are under a court order, a protective order.
We are providing everything we can legally provide.
No, that's not my
Congress has
question.
sent us a
My
subpoena.
question is, why are those witness statements that are not grand jury testimony, that if they were under a protective order are no longer under a protective order, why are they not being released?
How are they not under a protective
Why
order?
are you not going to the court like you did for the grand jury testimony to unseal those
The
records?
DOJ did go to the court.
No, not on those records. Why aren't you going? You just went on grand jury.
Time of the gentleman has expired.
You are hiding the Epstein files,
Time
Mr.
of the gentleman
Patel.
has expired.
You are part of the cover-up.
Can I respond?
You sure can.
Any allegations that I'm a part of a cover-up to protect child sexual trafficking and victims of human trafficking and sexual crimes is patently and categorically false, and the work of my
So I hope you will talk to them when they
Gentlemen's
have
time has
requested
expired.
to speak with you. Because the
Gentlemen's time has
victims have
expired. Gentleman
requested
yields
and you are
back.
not responding to them.
Director, yes or no is yes.
What you just saw wasn't just a heated back and forth between Congressman Dan Goldman and Kash Patel. It was a window into how power, secrecy, and accountability collide in America. Goldman, a former prosecutor, cut straight to the heart of the issue. Does Donald Trump's name appear in the Epstein files? A simple question, yet Patel, who has built his reputation on loyalty to Trump, immediately fell into deflection mode. Instead of giving a direct answer, he leaned on vague legal references, court orders, sealed documents, protective rulings. He tried to build a wall of technicalities around a very basic truth. Now, why does this matter? Because the Epstein case is one of the most disturbing scandals in modern American history. We're talking about a man who operated a global sex trafficking ring with connections to some of the most powerful people in politics, business, and royalty. The public has always suspected, and victims have always insisted, that the full scope of Epstein's crimes and the identities of those who participated have never been fully revealed. That secrecy is what Goldman is challenging here. When Patel claims that most of the seized videos were just downloaded pornography and child abuse material from the internet, Goldman doesn't let it slide. He knows that the real issue isn't whether random internet downloads exist. It's about the recordings, photographs, and witness testimonies that could implicate wealthy and powerful figures. That's the core of this battle. Patel insists there's nothing relevant to release, but Goldman's line of questioning exposes the possibility that this is less about legal barriers and more about protecting certain names. Think about the larger pattern here. Time and again, when ordinary people commit crimes, their information is laid bare in public records. Their names, their mugshots, their trials, all of it is accessible. But when wealthy elites are involved, especially elites with political clout, suddenly the justice system throws up walls of secrecy. Files are sealed, evidence is locked away, victims are told to wait. This is the double standard of American justice that Goldman is trying to highlight. And Goldman's background makes this clash even more important. As a former federal prosecutor, he isn't just grandstanding. He knows how protective orders work. He knows what's subject to grand jury secrecy and what isn't. So when Patel tries to hide behind court orders and sealed documents, Goldman calls him out. Witness interviews aren't automatically sealed. They could be released, with victims' identities redacted. Yet they haven't been. Why not? That's where this exchange becomes so revealing. Patel doesn't just dodge, he becomes defensive, almost combative, insisting that any claim of a cover-up is categorically false. But look at his refusal to give a straight answer on why the FBI hasn't gone back to court to unseal more records. Look at the way he tries to shut down Goldman's questioning. The defensiveness itself tells a story. For the victims of Epstein's trafficking ring, this secrecy is another layer of injustice. They've asked to see their own files, they've petitioned for transparency, and still they've been stonewalled. When Goldman reminds Patel that victims have personally requested information and been ignored, it drives home just how broken the system is. These survivors are treated as secondary concerns, while the reputations of powerful men remain protected. This is bigger than Epstein. It's about whether America has the courage to face the reality that some of the most influential figures in society may have been complicit in crimes against children. It's about whether our justice system serves the people or shields the powerful. And it's about whether lawmakers like Goldman can push through the wall of secrecy that figures like Patel are determined to maintain. So here's the takeaway. Transparency isn't just a buzzword. It's the foundation of accountability. Without it, victims can't heal, justice can't be served, and the truth can't be known. And every time someone like Patel dodges these questions, it adds fuel to the suspicion that the real reason these files remain sealed is not the law, it's politics. If you've been following the Epstein case and wondering why, after all these years, we still don't know the full story, this exchange is a perfect example of why. The people in power would rather argue technicalities than let the truth come out. And that's exactly why public pressure matters. If you believe the victims deserve answers, if you believe no one should be above accountability, then you can't ignore what happened here. Subscribe to Left Lens for more breakdowns like this. Because we're not just recapping the hearings, we're connecting the dots and asking the questions the powerful don't want asked. And let me know in the comments, do you think Patel's evasiveness is just legal caution, or is it part of a bigger effort to keep certain names out of the spotlight?